Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20+ years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you and enjoy the video.
In this video, I'm going to show you inner and outer tie rod replacement. This truck actually just needed the inner, but if you're replacing the inner, you might as well replace the outer as well. And these tie rods fit this whole generation of GM trucks and SUVs, trucks from 98 to 06 and SUVs from 99 to 07. Tools you'll need are jack and jack stands, a 22mm lug wrench or socket and ratchet. You'll need either a 35mm wrench or a 12-inch adjustable wrench that can go to 35mm, and then you'll need a second adjustable wrench as well, a tie rod removal tool, a grease gun, torque wrench, and pliers. That clunking noise was the inner tie rod. Okay, so you can see here when I shake the tire back and forth, you'll see the inner tie rod move, but that steering arm inside doesn't move. So you know there's play in there and it needs to be replaced. Okay, so start out by raising and securing the vehicle on a jack stand, and then remove your cap and wheel.
We're gonna remove this bolt. Okay, got a ratchet. If you don't have a breaker bar, use a ratchet, piece of pipe. This bolt should come off pretty easily. Take the bolt off most of the way. I'm planning on replacing the outer tie rod as well, so I'm going to use a pickle fork to separate it. Best way to go about this is to get the wrench on it from underneath and then push, and it should break free.
Okay, I'm just going to kind of speed up as I pull that out. You want to make sure that your outer tie rod spins with the wrench so that the whole assembly spins and you don't shorten or lengthen the tie rod, the inner and outer tie rod assembly.
Okay, so there's your whole assembly out. Okay, so you can see here I've got my old assembly, inner tie rod and outer tie rod, and I want to measure right from the edge of this surface here right to the end. Okay, and I've just taken my new inner tie rod and outer tie rod and I put them together just to compare, and this will just give you a good preliminary alignment. We'll put this nut a little closer and we can put it together now, and it'll be a good preliminary alignment until you can get your vehicle to a shop where you can get a real alignment. So I'm just leaving my nut right there and spinning my outer tie rod off.
Okay, the nut marks the place where your tie rod was, and then taking off that outer tie rod just makes it easier to get the inner one on.
Okay. That allows me to put my inner tie rod on.
Speed it up here as I use the wrench to tighten the tie rod up.
outer tie rod right back on and go right up to the nut.
Okay, I'll just fast forward here as I put that tie rod, the outer tie rod, back on the inner tie rod. Okay, now I'm just taking the nut, or just getting the tie rod in place, the outer tie rod in place, take the nut off the new tie rod, and just kind of get some of the debris off of the steering knuckle there. Then you can kind of push on the stud on the tie rod and get it lined up with the steering knuckle, and then push it up and in, and start your nut back on.
Okay, we'll tighten this up to 65 foot-pounds. Okay, pull it a little tighter so we can get the cotter pin through.
We'll fast forward here as we install the cotter pin and bend the end over, and then use a 7mm wrench and install our grease fitting.
Okay, now we'll take a wrench, put it on here, take another one, fold the outer tie rod. Okay, just tighten up this lock nut.
And now you want to use a grease gun and grease both the joint for the outer tie rod and the inner tie rod. Use some more fast forward here as you put the wheel and tire back on. Start all the lug nuts one by hand first, then use your wrench to just kind of preliminarily tighten them. Then you can lower the vehicle back down on the ground, torque the lug nuts to 120 foot-pounds, kind of using a crossing pattern, and then I actually do it one more time, just go around all 8, make sure that they're tight, and then you can put your center cap back on and you should be all set. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.